Hello Wolves, so it is finally here. Season 2 will be out today. It's probably out already by the time this goes up. Please do not leave spoilers. At least give me a couple of days to watch it, okay? I don't even know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit excited about this. So every day leading up to today, I've been releasing recaps on the Hargreeves children. So today's is Vanya's, aka number 7, aka the White Violin. So if you want to watch any of the previous ones, they'll be down below in the description. So this is just a refresher on Vanya's arc throughout season 1. So characters won't be explained, I won't go into depth with them, because this is just a refresher getting you ready for season 2. Let's get started. Like his siblings, Vanya was one of the 43 babies born in 1989, to a woman who hadn't started the day pregnant. Soon after the birth, Vanya was adopted by Reginald Hargreeves for his vigilante group. Vanya was born with a gift like her siblings. Her powers revolve around sound manipulation. She can bend it to her will. Vanya can also project sound waves and absorb the sound, and she can do so much more. But unlike her siblings, Vanya wasn't a part of the Umbrella Academy. Her powers were too hard to contain and control, so her adopted father made her forget about just how extraordinary she was, and suppressed the powers she was born with. Our introduction to Vanya is of her practicing her violin, playing the Phantom of the Opera, which is actually one of my favourite parts of the season, and the cover by Lindsay is amazing. I may or may not have downloaded it for my own phone. Obviously the May is the correct answer there. While walking past a tech shop, a news broadcast catches her eye. This is how she learns of her father's death. Vanya heads back to her childhood home for her father's memorial, where she reunites with Allison and Diego, although the latter would rather she had not turned up. She finds her book, The Reason Some of His Siblings Are Cold Towards Her, on Reginald's bookshelf, but according to Pogo, he never even read it. Later on in the day, a family meeting is called by Luther. During the meeting, Luther reveals to the siblings that he believes Reginald's death was not natural, that he thinks someone, maybe someone in that very room, had a hand in it. Of course, the siblings are disgusted to be accused, and one by one they leave Luther alone. Hearing music flowing through the academy, Vanya dances along to Tiffany with the rest of her siblings. Her dance is cut short by number 5 returning from the future. Can I just add how rude that is? Number 5 interrupts every one of their dance breaks, and I would like to have seen what move Diego would have used next. We are finally at the memorial for Reginald Hargreeves, and of course it goes wrong, because this family can have nice things. A fight breaks out between Luther and Diego, and when Vanya talks to Diego, he bats her off. He seems to harbour resentment towards Vanya over the tell-all book she wrote on the family. Vanya heads home, only to find number 5 sitting in her apartment waiting for her. He tells her what he found when he jumped to the future, which was a whole lot of nothing, but he also reveals that the apocalypse is coming in 8 days and Vanya has the appropriate response. We see some flashbacks in the first episode to the Academy's first outing as vigilantes. Unfortunately, Vanya is not invited because, according to her father, she's not like her siblings. She's not special. The kids also all got tattoos of the Umbrella Academy symbol on their wrists. Well, all of them except Vanya, who has to make her own. To be honest though, Vanya, I had my first tattoo at 18. I didn't find it extremely painful, but I've never had one on my wrist, and I feel like that would be such a sore, the skin is so thin there. I think you dodged a bullet, okay? Vanya listens intently as 5 tells her about his life in the future. She's skeptical. She thinks 5 is confused and that the apocalypse is something that he made up in his head. Vanya recalls her father talking about how time travel may scramble people's minds and worries that this has happened to 5. She promises to talk to him more the next day and insists he stay the night on the couch. She's just genuinely happy he's back. I wonder what Vanya's life would have turned out like if 5 never left. In the TV show, they seem to be the closest out of the siblings, and it would be nice to see how maybe 5 stuck by her with the book and helped her out. What would it have changed if 5 never jumped to the future? Waking up the next day, she goes to check on 5, only to see he's already scarpered. She heads back to the academy to see if 5 was there. She finds him and expresses her concern for him. He promises that he just needs to rest and he'll be better, and Vanya believes him. Still at the academy, Vanya sees Allison on the phone to her ex-husband arguing. Once she hangs up, Vanya tries to cheer Allison up, but Allison is having none of it. After her argument, or more accurately Allison berating her and Vanya taking it, Vanya goes back to her apartment. She's startled out of practicing violin by a knocking on the door. The man at the door is called Leonard. He's Vanya's new violin student, who weirdly invites Vanya to his woodshop. And Vanya turns him down in the most awkward way humanly possible. We see a flashback to 5 years before when Vanya bought herself a typewriter. Props to her for actually typing on that thing. I have a typewriter and that shit is fucking hard to type on. Anyway, she began her autobiography all about her life as the 7th unseen member of the Umbrella Academy. She shared some of the family's dark secrets, causing a bigger rift between Vanya and her siblings. Her book did fairly well for a short amount of time, but eventually people lost interest. Back to the present, Vanya rushes to her violin practice, but coming in late distracts the whole group. We see she's not in first chair, and like her family, the people at the orchestra tear her down. After practice, Vanya visits Leonard's woodshop. He shows her around and points out a wood carving he made of her. Slightly creepy. Okay, not slightly, very, very creepy. Now out on the street, Leonard and Vanya bump into Alison, who takes Vanya back to the house to let her know about Grace. Alison and Luther found a videotape of Reginald's death where Grace just stood and watched Reginald die. She didn't intervene. Alison and Luther think she may be dangerous, but Diego disagrees, causing a vote to break out. Alison and Luther vote to turn her off, while Diego, Klaus and Vanya vote to keep her on. Although Vanya's side won, the vote's put on hold to give Five an opportunity to voice his opinion. Vanya is still in the academy when Hazel and Chacha attack. She can't help her siblings fight as she didn't have the same training as the rest, which seems super stupid because even if the whole shtick was that she wasn't special, you might want to train her in self-defense. Luther even had to protect her. After the fight, Vanya tries to stay and help, but both Alison and Diego ask her to leave. Alison with a more gentle tone than Diego. Feeling rejected, Vanya goes to Leonard's house and stays the night on his couch. Vanya panics when she wakes up as she notices she forgot her refill for tablets she's been taking since she was a child. She claims this to calm her down and to help with her anxiety. Leonard reassures her that she doesn't need the tablet, that she's going to be just fine without them. He also reminds her of just how special she is, which would be a cute moment if we didn't know how it ends. After her violin practice that day, she bumps into Alison, who apologises for the way she talked to her the day before. The sisters go for a drink and actually bond. They chat about love, in particular Vanya and Leonard, as Alison is highly suspicious of him, as she should be. Vanya waves her off, claiming nothing was wrong with Leonard, and that she actually really likes him. For the first time ever, someone likes her for her. After their drinks, the giddy sisters head back to Vanya's apartment to carry on the party. Waiting there for Vanya is a bouquet of flowers from Leonard. This confirms to Vanya that Leonard likes her, and she can finally be happy, while Alison is still suspicious. Again, as she should be. The next morning, Vanya and Leonard meet up for breakfast. Vanya excitingly tells Leonard that she feels amazing without the pills. In fact, she's never felt better. Leonard twists the conversation about the tablets towards Vanya's siblings again. Vanya confesses resentment towards them. The orchestra she performs in is having auditions for the first chair. Vanya is hesitant, but Leonard encourages her to go for it. This gives her some confidence, so she goes home to practice. Her practice is interrupted by a hasty Alison, who has spent the entire day researching Leonard at the library, out of worry for her sister. But she didn't find anything, only an address, no dirt, he's a mystery. Vanya's angry. Here she was finally happy with a man that made her feel like she was the special one for a change, and here comes her sister, who she was finally getting along with, trying to stop her from seeing Leonard. Understandably irritated, Vanya asks Alison to leave. The bridge they just built is now slightly cracked. A nervous Vanya is at her audition for first chair, but relaxes when she starts. The crowd don't seem to be into it until some of Vanya's powers erupt through the sound waves caused by the violin. The room soon gets on board with Vanya's performance. As soon as Vanya was able to, she rushes to Leonard's house to share the good news. She got first chair, and she couldn't be happier about it. So happy in fact that Leonard and Vanya start to celebrate. Now free of the tablets that were suppressing her, her powers are now free. Vanya takes Leonard to the academy, but again feels rejected by her family, once she sees she's not been invited to the family meeting taking place. Actually feeling hurt, she stomps through the street with Leonard trailing behind her. Unbeknownst to her, the anger and emotion she was feeling was causing her powers to go haywire. When pointed out by Leonard, she scoffs, not believing she did any of it. To get away from it all, Leonard takes Vanya to his grandmother's cabin. He wants to see what power Vanya truly has, so he gets her to practice. They go out to the lake and Leonard makes her practice with a boat. We actually get to see Leonard's true personality a little bit here when he gets frustrated with her. The lovebirds go out for dinner, but the relaxing evening ends abruptly by 3 men who start a fight with Leonard. The fight escalates so much that Vanya's flight or fight reflex kicks in, and it's a very fight reflex. Her power erupts around the group, flinging the assailants through the air. Leonard's injuries were severe, so Vanya waits in the hospital with him. We find out that 2 of the men had died in the attack, and that Leonard's eye is completely damaged, and the last man from the attack is in critical condition. Leonard discharges himself the next day and tells Vanya that he will need a false eye. Vanya blames herself for the accident, but Leonard reassures her that no blame lies with her. Leonard tells her that with a little bit of practice she can learn to control her powers. He seems way too invested into this. We also get a lot of flashbacks to Vanya's less than perfect childhood. While not the worst childhood out of her siblings, Klaus wins that it was far from the perfect upbringing. Vanya's was filled by loneliness and self-doubt. With arguably the most powerful power in the academy, Vanya was dangerous even as a child, so she had to be trained. It started off well, but like any child ever, she gets frustrated easily. Vanya was actually the reason Grace was made, because she injured all the other nannies. Instead of being patient with her, Reginald's solution was to build an impenetrable room and lock Vanya inside, isolating her further from her siblings. Stellar job, 10 out of 10 on the parenting. Back to practicing with Leonard, he takes her to the middle of the forest trying to get her to focus on one sound. You see, Vanya's powers are about utilising sound, so she manages to focus on the sound of the stream, which causes a surge of power. And her powers are linked to her emotions, like all the best ones are. Back at the cabin, Vanya gets flashes of her past and finally knows what Reginald did to her, but one piece of the puzzle is still missing. How did she forget? Vanya gets a visit from a worried Alison, and that missing piece falls into place. Alison tells her about what they found on Leonard, but Vanya doesn't care. Her powers start to go wild once Alison reveals the truth. The reason Vanya doesn't remember is because a young Alison was forced to use her powers to make her forget. Her emotions really do control her powers. Feeling betrayed, Vanya lashes out, cutting her sister's attempt to save her off. With the flick of her violin bow and a little bit of power, Vanya slices Alison's throat. She has to be physically pulled away by a smirking Leonard as she sobs over her dying sister. Traumatized from hurting Alison, Vanya lets Leonard wash her emotionless state. He tells her it wasn't her fault, but Vanya doesn't seem to be listening. She wants to go back to the academy and tell her brothers the truth. She doesn't believe they would hurt her. Leonard tells her otherwise. While washing up, Vanya finally uncovers her father's journal, detailing all of the kids' powers. She finally starts to believe Alison's claims. She confronts Leonard and she finally realises that he's been manipulating her this entire time. Leonard, whose real name is Harold, was born on the same day as the 43, but he wasn't special. He grew a resentment for the Umbrella Academy and, seeing an opportunity to take them down, went to work on charming Vanya. He tries to win her back, but Vanya's done listening. Leonard taunts her. Big mistake. Vanya snaps. Finally free from that manipulative ass, Vanya takes a moment to break down about Alison and what she did. Finally pushing herself, Vanya goes to the academy where she's greeted by a stoic Luther. Alison is alive and Vanya is so very sorry for what she's done. And what seems like a brotherly hug turns to a sleep hold as Luther brings Vanya down to her old containment unit. She used to be held in as a child. This scene actually made me sad. Diego, Klaus and Luther crowding around Vanya's cell as she's begged to be let out, and the sobbing apologies she gives Alison when she sees her. Jesus, Umbrella Academy, stop giving me like emotional whiplash. They leave her alone and her younger self starts putting doubt into her mind. Younger Vanya tells her that her family are afraid of her. They're scared. They're going to mute her and keep her locked up forever unless she gets herself out. The doubt sinks further in and she focuses on the sound of her own heartbeat to break down the door. Finally embracing her powers, she starts bringing the academy down. The entire time she's walking through the house, her mind flashes back to times her siblings dismissed her, fueling her anger. Poker tries to stop her, but with confirmation from him that he knew all along that Vanya had powers and he helped cover it up, he was quickly dispatched. Now that that was dealt with, Vanya goes to her apartment to gather her violin and to get ready for her first concert as first chair. There is a notable flashback where a young Vanya practices the violin for the first time. It's also the only time that we see Reginald almost proud of one of his children, and it's a really strange sight. Finally, her big break is first chair, and she's playing to a packed theatre. The audience love Vanya's music, and Vanya has finally achieved her dreams. Alison watches Vanya in awe as she plays and Vanya seems happy that she's there. But this is all a distraction. Vanya's not dumb and stops her brothers with ease, forcing the orchestra to continue to play. The entire theatre is filled with chaos, with the commission arriving to stop the siblings. Vanya's whole suit turns white as she finally becomes the white violin. Just like the academy, the theatre starts to rumble like Daisy Johnson was in there. Vanya's siblings make a last-ditch attempt at stopping her by ambushing her. Of course, Vanya stops them with ease, draining the life force out of them. Before she can finish them off, a loud bang startles her into dropping the boys. Alison had snuck behind her with a gun and shot right next to her ear. Vanya passes out into Alison's waiting arm, but not without some of her raw power shooting off of her and straight to the moon. Even though they had stopped Vanya and apparently stopped the apocalypse, they were soon proven wrong. Chunks of the moon crack off and begins falling towards the earth. The apocalypse is very much still on. As a last resort, 5 offers time travel as a way out. Seeing no other option, the family agree. The last shot we see of the academy is of them reverting to their younger selves as they time travel away. And that is it. That is all 7 siblings done. That is Vanya done. I need to go sleep. I need to go nap. I hope you enjoyed the series. My expectations for it were up here, and I don't think it even met halfway. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it's not disappointing, and I will continue to work on everything so that if I ever do recaps again, they will be better. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me. Comment down below what you thought, what you think about these videos, what you think about the Umbrella Academy. Please give me at least a couple of days before you put spoilers anyway. If you like this video, I do videos like this every single week. You can let me know any video suggestions that you have and subscribe, because you might as well, and it is free. It's a well-known secret, but it is free. And click that bell if you want to be notified when I upload. I wonder what they're going to do with Vanya's love interest. From trailers and stuff like that, it looks like it's going to be Missy. But in the comics, there's like weird things going on with her and Diego, which I don't think they're actually going to do in the show. I've always found it weird, the relationship between her and Diego in the comics, because it's weird. Anyway, and I will see you next time. Bye, little wolves.